Michael, why haven't Liverpool come back in with another bid?
The answer is simple. They know Newcastle won't sell unless they have a replacement. And that's why this could go on for some time. It could even go on right until the very end. We know Newcastle's stance. We know Eddie Howe's stance. And he's been very thorough about this. Unless they bring in a replacement, Alexander Isak isn't going anywhere. And you'd probably maybe put it around 50-50 now. There's no guarantees. Newcastle must bring in a replacement. And many Newcastle fans were saying at the weekend, look, Villa, Newcastle, they seem to play each other first game of the season every year. But they probably missed that striker. They missed that out-and-out striker. So it doesn't seem to be any reason why Liverpool will be going back in at the moment, despite the strained relations.
Could the good start by Ugo Ekitike in both Community Shield pre-season and in that first game, could that persuade Liverpool not to go back in for Isak?
I don't think so. I think Liverpool have planned previously. Ekitike comes in, he's in. They've already got Gakpo, they've already got Salah. Salah plays. Ekitike now is putting himself in a position that he's trustworthy, scored goals, was brilliant the last couple of games. And I think Ekitike is going to play anyway. I just think that Liverpool planned that Ekitike will play. And even if Isak comes in, he doesn't replace Ekitike. I think there's just going to be a front four. And that front four is Gakpo, Ekitike, Salah, and then possibly Isak. And then it'll be 3 out of 4 that play. So I think Liverpool are well aware that Ekitike is quality and will be involved. It's just, if Isak comes in, it's just going to be a great front four.
Yeah. Is there also a danger that the way that Isak and Wissa have both behaved, and it is very similar, isn't it, that the club's supporters that they're going to might just be a bit wary about them when they arrive in terms of how they behave? Well, they've done that there. They could do that at our club as well.
Yeah, and do you know what? I think sometimes we maybe don't see the other side of it in terms of, yes, they've behaved in a way of frustration and demanding to the club, but this happens all the time. And gone are the days of the club tell the player everything what to do, you're going here, and if you don't go here, you'll even train with the kids. Although it's gone. I think the player power has come into play, that players understand their value to the club and they can go in and have a conversation. And sometimes, in these cases, same as Isak, I'm sure, same as Wissa, they've gone into the office and said, listen, I thought this was what we were looking for. You've got replacements. What are you going to ask for? Okay, we can ask for this. If that happens, okay, we can make a deal. And these business conversations, what's happening? And I think also the player has the right to have that power to go to the club because, yes, he signed a contract. Yes, there's a business deal there. But at times, that business deal starts to move away and say, listen, I would like to go here. Let's make a deal.
You've had a lot of clubs. Have you always behaved? You've had a lot of clubs.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But I tell you, the same. There's been times where I'm saying to the club, listen, I want to move on. I've been in that position. I think when I left West Brom, I decided, I think I put a transfer request in because I wasn't happy. Not because of the club, not because of the fans, but because I was frustrated at game playing time. Yeah. And I was like, well, listen, there's goals here. Do you want 20 goals or not? Because I'll take it here. If I play, no problem. It's here. But if it's not, I'm afraid I'm going to have to move on. And that was my conversation. Yeah. Because the player has the right to do that. Because I think the key thing is, especially with Wissa, especially with Isak, they feel like they could go to that next level because of their ages. Wissa, I think, is 28. Yeah. Isak is 26.
Yeah.
I feel like they look at the next 5 years. The next 5 years, the next move is the big one. So there's a bit of frustration there because of that.
Well done also for not rising to him there. He was trying to poke you there, suggest you're a journeyman. How dare you, Michael?
I always behave. What are we talking about?
But he mentioned a very good point, transfer request. That's not really happening much in football at the moment. You used to get it all the time, players handing in transfer requests where you lose bonuses, whatnot. So it was really.
So is that why it doesn't happen then? Because players don't want to miss out on
agents
the money?
lose out, players lose out on certain bonuses and loyalty scheme. So it's really interesting to hear you say those words, transfer requests, because I've not heard it for quite a while.
Yeah. And what about Mark Guéhi? He started as well on the weekend, and this is a big decision for Palace, isn't it? Do they cash in now and get something for Guéhi, or risk losing him on a free in the summer?
Well, again, they won't be bullied. They've proven that time and time again, Crystal Palace. They're not going to be told what to do or made to roll over by the so-called big boys. They proved it, didn't they, 12 months ago with Mark Guéhi and that Newcastle interest. They wanted 60 million. Newcastle didn't come up with 60 million, and the deal, despite us all thinking that in the end it would happen, didn't happen. He stayed, he played, and he's carry on playing. Much like his teammate Eze, he was fully involved in the match on Sunday. He's fully involved in training. He's making himself fully available. He, we understand, only wants Liverpool. There is other interest. We know Newcastle again, potentially Chelsea as well, but he only wants Liverpool. A year left, as you say, on his contract. The price now being quoted is around 40 million that Crystal Palace will only accept, and no one's come up with that amount of money yet. And so if you think Crystal Palace are going to behave the way Crystal Palace always behave, it won't happen until their valuation is met. Listen, they've got a good squad of players. They're in Europe. They want to do well in the Premier League. They're the FA Cup holders. They just beat Liverpool in the Community Shield. 10 games unbeaten, Crystal Palace, with this set of players, including victories at Wembley against the likes of Aston Villa, Liverpool, Manchester City, including being unbeaten away from home at Arsenal, at Tottenham. And so while they're getting results like that, they'll do everything they can to keep this squad together unless the price is right.
I've got a feeling Eze might be teasing you, Gary. He might just pop out of his car in a minute and then get back in and drive off. But keep your eyes open. He's not there, don't worry.
The sales of especially young players homegrown players that have come through the academy. So I don't like that, and I don't think it works. That's not the way to set teams up and bring in their best players, because we want some of the young players come through the academy, play in the first team for 10, 15 years. We want that opportunity, but I think PSR is stopping that with football clubs. Yeah. But you look at the most expensive signings here. I mean, some of these world-class players, which I love that they've made the move and also making the impression. Wirtz was very good. Ekitike is shined straight away. Šeško, we're still yet to see. Bumo, again, our first game, still yet to see. Gyökeres, I think he'll come good. I think he's a quality player.
Pick one of those, Rob. One of those on the list that you think is going to be the biggest and the best signing this window.
I'm going to go for it because I'm a big fan. Cunha.
Right.
I think he's going to be top. I think we're going to see in the next couple of years that he's going to become world-class because he's not afraid of the moment. He's completely fearless. Old Trafford, no problem. But I love his game, his dribbling, his ability to see things and handle the pressure and also want the ball, by the way. There was a moment where he almost scored one of the goals of the season where he went on a dribble in Arsenal game and he just got tired at the end of it. But that is a sign of what's to come.
Yeah, he's box office, isn't he? Yoane Wissa, then, who remains angry that a transfer to Newcastle from Brentford is still not materialised, and he's deleted all traces of his current club from his social media. He believes the club is being difficult, and the move Wissa made yesterday in deleting all traces of Brentford from his social media was a representation of his current stance. Well, Newcastle have been expected to move again for Wissa, despite Brentford's club record signing of Dango Ouattara giving no guarantees he would be sold, but it's not come yet. Crucially, there's been no new contact between Newcastle and Brentford so far this week, and there is no new bid on the table as things stand. Right, let's get into this. Interesting move, Rob, from Wissa. Is this really going to fast forward his desperate move that he wants to get to Newcastle?
Deleting all his stuff?
Yeah.
No. I mean, my first thought was, come on, this is childish. Deleting all the Instagram stuff, pictures, his history with the club. It's just childish. Let's face it. I tell you what's happened. There's been a conversation. Brentford have made it hard for him, maybe asking too much or what he feels is too much of a price tag. And he's got very frustrated with that. And he's gone in one afternoon and just lost his mind for a little bit for a couple of hours. And that's what's happened probably. But I tell you, I will say this, though. This guy, Wissa, I think he's brilliant.
Yeah.
I think he's an excellent player. Any team would be, I think, brilliant to have him. It would be, I think he would add so much. He would add goals. And this guy scored over 20 goals last season. So Wissa is a great player, excellent player. I just think he's had a moment of frustration. He's gone to his social media and lost it for a few seconds.
Oh, this is the Sun's back page. Kind of get used to this sort of behaviour this window from players, aren't we? Wissa, Does and Isak. And there are real similarities between the two in terms of how they're behaving. Do you think, Rob, that he would only really behave like this if he was getting some assurances that Newcastle will make another bid, even though it's not come?
Yeah, I mean, going off what I just said just now, the other side of it, from his point of view, what's happened also is I would assume there has been the discussion. Clearly, there's been a discussion because if you rewind back a few weeks, Wissa left the squad a couple of times because there was a move on the card. But the reason is because he's probably had those conversations and they've said, listen, we want this, Brentford, to him. If we get this and we get a replacement for you, you can go. And I think maybe there's been a miscommunication or a frustration there, not meeting the terms there, and he's frustrated. But I'll tell you what's happening here is Brentford almost, I think, put in a position where if Wissa leaves Brentford, goes to Newcastle, maybe it opens up the Isak deal to Liverpool. So there's a few things kind of going on. Utara, of course, just came in to Brentford, and I think because Wissa saw Utara come in, he's thought, okay, you've got a replacement. We can now make our deal possible. And I think they're not making that deal possible right now.
Yeah, Brentford have actually said that Ouattara is really Mbeumo's replacement, which is interesting. They want to get another one in for Wissa. The thing is, Michael, he's not the only player in this situation, is he? There are other players, particularly at Crystal Palace, who are in this situation, but they're behaving in a different manner.
Yep. Look, Crystal Palace and the relationship with Ebe Eze and Crystal Palace is fantastic. I mean, he was phenomenal. Huge central part of Crystal Palace making history, winning that FA Cup, qualifying for Europe. Yes, it is now the Conference League, but I'm telling you, they're going to embrace it. They've got to get on with it now and enjoy being in Europe because they've got a superb manager. And with Mark Gay, like we've reported all summer here, he's quite relaxed. Now, it was Steve Parish in the mix zone after the Community Shield final where you got the impression that they would be happy to negotiate because a club like Palace, who are so well run, they do ever so well in the transfer market, but you can't allow Mark Gay to leave on a free. He's such a good player.
But compared to the Wissa situation, in terms of how Gay and Eze are behaving?
Oh, absolutely, because there was talk on Saturday night that Eze was not going to feature against Chelsea, and you can understand it as the talks continued between Spurs and Chelsea, but it's relationships, and Eze and Gay have good relationships with their club at the moment.